What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. It's time to take a look at the top 10 games for Rivalry Week, Week 13 of the 2023 college football season. This is always, of course, one of the great weeks in college football. It's kind of sad because it's always at the end of the season, and the regular season is coming to an end, but the rivalries, all the matchups, this is what college football is all about. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this series as we've taken a look at the biggest games from each week of the season. We'll see if it turns out to be accurate or if there's surprise teams jump in there, or I'm sure there'll be teams that disappoint. But these are my top 10 games for Rivalry Weekend, and we're going to start with number 10. It's the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss versus Mississippi State, a Thanksgiving tradition. Love this game every year. After spending time with family and all that on Thanksgiving, then you turn this game on. It's just, I love the fact that they have kept it on Thanksgiving. It's a pretty big game this year. You look at momentum for each program. I think both teams are going to have a pretty good year, but this game could mean a lot going forward for momentum. First-year head coach Mississippi State, Lane Kiffin, trying to get this Ole Miss program to that next level. So this could be a really good one here. Rivalry game, not really going to impact conference races or the playoff race or anything like that. But it's just one of those rivalry games that I really enjoy, and that's why it's on the list here. Ole Miss, Mississippi State at number 10. Let's go to number 9. This might be the first Group of 5 matchup I've done all season, but this is a big one. UTSA at Tulane. I think these are the two best Group of 5 teams in all of college football. They're probably going to play again the next week in the American Championship, so that does take away from it a little bit. But you're looking at that spot for a New Year's Six Bowl potentially, and again, you got to win your conference championship. So this game, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but perhaps one of these teams is in jeopardy of not making it to the conference championship, and if they lose this game, they won't get in. I don't know what the American's going to look like, behind these teams. SMU's, I was just looking at SMU the other day working on their roster, and this is an SMU team that could be really dangerous this year. So perhaps the loser of this game doesn't get to the American Championship, and the winner plays SMU, and then that's the game to get to a New Year's Six Bowl. Who knows? But I think there is potential for this to be a ranked matchup. Again, two of the better, if not the best, Group of 5 teams right here, UTSA, Tulane. Looking forward to this one. Let's go to number 8. It's the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama. This is, in my opinion, and I know there are plenty of people who are going to disagree, but in my opinion, this is the best rivalry in all of college football. And Ohio State, Michigan's right there with them. I live in the state of Alabama. Maybe I'm biased, but this thing it means a lot. And this year's game could be really big because if you look at the past, since Nick Saban has been in Alabama, when Auburn has been good and they played this game in Jordan-Hare, Auburn has won like every time. Maybe actually every single time. I don't remember the number. Maybe if they had at least 7 wins or 8 wins or something like that. And Hugh Freeze has beaten Alabama in the past, so you're looking at an Auburn team that's going to be poised for an upset. And even as bad as they were a couple of years ago, remember they almost beat Bryce Young in Alabama in Jordan-Hare. So you expect this game to be good, to be a close game. Alabama perhaps with playoff implications here in this game, SEC championship implications. I don't expect Auburn to be at that level this year, but I just think this is going to be a really big game and probably a close game. And always a lot of fun. It's very possible this is the final SEC on CBS regular season game as well. So this game really is going to mean a lot this year for a number of different reasons. But really looking forward to it, as I do every year. The Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama at number 8. Number 7, Clemson at South Carolina. Another great rivalry here. This one could have playoff implications. Not going to have conference race implications because it's not a conference game. But Clemson has a really good shot to be sitting here with 1 loss or maybe even undefeated. South Carolina beat them last year. They get them at home this year. I think if you watch my predictions, I actually picked South Carolina to pull off the upset here. So I think that this one will be really good. I'm really looking forward to this matchup as well. Clemson, South Carolina at number 7. Let's go to number 6, a game that could mean a lot in the Big Ten West. Wisconsin, Minnesota. The more I look at this division, I still think Wisconsin's the favorite, but I think Minnesota is right there. I think Iowa's right there behind them. I think Illinois right there behind them, and maybe a surprise team could jump in there like Nebraska. But this is a game that Minnesota potentially could be playing for a spot in the Big Ten championship. And so, yeah, this is a big one here. And you look at Wisconsin, the way their schedule sets up, they could still be in the playoff race at this point. So this has potential to be a huge game. First of all, in the Big Ten West, but then also maybe even in the playoff race. Wisconsin, Minnesota coming in at number 6, and a lot of big games for rivalry weekend this year. In the past, that hasn't really been the case. This weekend has not featured a lot of huge games like this. But Oregon State, Oregon, big game in the Pac-12. Also talking about playoff implications in this one. I don't know that Oregon State's still going to be in the playoff race at this point, but I think Oregon will be. I think that maybe they have 2 losses, but you feel pretty good that they have a really good shot of being there at 10-1 going into this game. Even if they have 2 losses, you never know. The Pac-12 champ could possibly get in if we get some chaos with 2 losses, as good as the top of this conference is. But yeah, this is always a great rivalry, revenge game for Oregon after they lost last year. I think this is going to be a fun one. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Oregon State, Oregon at number 5. Number 4, Texas Tech at Texas. This game has a lot of potential to be big in the Big 12 race and also possibly even in the playoff race for Texas. I think Texas Tech has a legit shot to get to the Big 12 championship. They might have to win this game to get there. And you look at Texas, they might still be in the playoff race. So I think there are a lot of reasons why this one could be really big. Texas Tech at Texas coming in number 4. Also the final regular season game in the Big 12 for the Longhorns. Number 3, final regular season game in the Big 12 for Oklahoma, as they will host TCU. This game also has a lot of implications in the Big 12 race, and I actually think this game, if Kansas State does not get in, which I think Kansas State has a really good shot, but if Kansas State is not the team to possibly play Texas in the Big 12 championship, I think this game will decide it. I think TCU Oklahoma very well could be a play-in game to get to the Big 12 championship, depending on how things go again with Kansas State, and even Texas Tech in that race as well. And I've said before, you've got UCF, you've got Kansas, you've got these dark horse teams, maybe even Baylor, but I think there is a real possibility that this game is a game that decides who gets to the Big 12 championship. So TCU Oklahoma, probably a ranked matchup and a good one here. And like I said, final regular season game in the Big 12 for Oklahoma. Then we get to number 2, Texas A&M at LSU. This one will be big here as well. I think it'll be a ranked matchup. I think LSU probably still in the playoff race at this point. Texas A&M might be, you never know. And depending on what happens in the Iron Bowl, if that game is played first, and let's say Auburn does upset Alabama, LSU might be playing this game with a win, getting them to Atlanta to the SEC championship. So this could be a huge game for them. And again, I'm high on Texas A&M. I did pick them to go 9-3 this year, and so I think this will be a top 15 matchup, and it could possibly have playoff implications, and like I said, SEC championship implications as well. A&M LSU should be a good one at number 2. Number 1, it's the game, Ohio State at Michigan. I think it's going to be probably the biggest regular season game this year. I think it's going to be for a spot in the Big Ten championship. I know everybody's talking about Penn State. I think Penn State loses to both of these teams, and I think the winner of this one gets the Big Ten championship, and I think they will win that game. So it's almost like the winner gets in the playoff. The loser could get in there as well if both teams are undefeated. We just saw that happen last year. But yeah, it's a huge one this year, as it has been for the last few years. Probably a top 5 matchup, a chance that both of these teams are undefeated, and maybe even like a 2 versus 3 matchup, or even a 1 versus 2 if Georgia were to lose. So yeah, Ohio State, Michigan, I think it's the biggest game of rivalry weekend. I like it has been, like I said, for the last few years. Number 1, again, Ohio State, Michigan, biggest game of the week, and I think probably the biggest game of the regular season. Let me know what you think about rivalry weekend. Maybe there's a game you really are looking forward to that didn't make the list. Give me your thoughts down in the comments below.